Hello. Good morning. Welcome, welcome. How's it going? What have you guys been up to? I'm really just talking to the people who are watching the recording right now because nobody's ever connected this early on. So, hello to those of you watching the recording. How are you? Hope you're having a good day. Give a few minutes for people to join me. Good morning. Hello. Who is bright-eyed and bushy-tailed today? Adriana, good morning, my love. You and Michelle are always the first ones in. It's amazing. And Rhonda, all three of you are so quick. You guys must be subscribing to my YouTube, huh? Because that's when the accurate notifications go out. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome. Hello. I missed you guys. How's it going? I love you, Michelle. I have your look, I have your stuff right next to me. See, I keep them next to me while I'm working. My little grid. I love my grid. I still have to figure out what I'm gonna do with this, Michelle. What is this for? Is this for hanging somewhere? This is really cool thingy you made. I'm just wondering, is this for something I should like put on a wall? Should I hang it in my maybe I'll hang it in my car. Maybe. Oh, thank you. They're teal today. Love you guys. How's it going? Good to see you all. I did have Erin on the plans for today, but Erin had to postpone until Monday because she's got kid responsibility. So I was going to try and keep Monday solo because I've been having a lot of guests lately. I've been having like a guest almost every single day. And I have noticed that I get a lot less comments on those days. And that so I am going to slow down my guests. I have a lot of people who want to be guests, but I'm going to slow it down a little bit so I can have these solo chit chats more often. I really like chatting with you guys, just having little chit chats to see how's it going, see if there's anything you guys want to chat about. It's an ornament, like a Christmas tree ornament. Ah, that is clever. I'm totally going to hang it in my car because it's nowhere near Christmas. But I love that idea, Michelle. Very cool. Very, very cool. Love that. I saw the holes in it and I was like, this is meant to be hung somewhere. So I've been using it as like a light catcher. It's very cool though. You got an ornament as well, Laura. Very nice. So yeah, what have you guys been doing? What's been going on? I've been doing a lot of clearings, which I'll tell you guys a little bit about. Been having a lot of fun stuff coming through. How do you book a clearing with me? Well, my website is under construction right now. We're going to be building a whole new website for that. And Christopher is helping me with it because Christopher is amazing and super helpful. So it's under construction. The best way is to message me privately. I have been doing my absolute best to keep up on messages. In fact, it's taken me about 3 hours a day to keep up with messages, but I am trying. If you guys noticed yesterday, I shared a post and I was like, well, I've got some extra spaces if you guys need any clearings. I got 50 messages in 14 minutes. That's why I took the post down. If you guys notice that post self-destructed, it's because I got 50 people asking me for a clearing within 15 minutes. And it was, yeah. But I did actually get through all of those clearings. So I do have some availability tomorrow. I don't know if you guys have seen, but we've had some of my reports ending up in the Spirit Release Therapy group, the group, so you guys can see if there were any gaps or anything. I honestly, I'm very excited to hear the feedback from our reports. So I really love that you guys are sharing. Thank you for sharing your report, by the way, Dawn. That was really cool of you to share it in the SRT group, because a lot of people are saying how detailed we're making these reports. And I'm putting as much effort and energy into this as I possibly can. So that's why we're being methodical with these reports. Like, we're checking everything. Speak of the angel, here's Claire. Hello, gorgeous. Nice to see you. Claire and I have been working our butts off, haven't we, Claire? Yes, but I am trying to keep up. I am hiring a PA very soon. I'm actually in training of one right now. So I will be getting help with all of that stuff. But I know you guys probably have some questions about these clearings, so feel free to ask if you have anything that you would like to know. Good morning, Lori. Nice to see you. Sorry to wake you up. Yes, we're checking animals. That is one. We have only found 3 affected animals right now. We added that to the reports a few days ago. One of my friends, for example, one of my friends. So remember, I'll tell you guys this story. This was funny. So one of my friends, I've told you guys about his mom. One of my Xbox friends, his mom, she had gone into a hospital for something dealing with an infection, and then a few days later, she was like throwing chairs at the nurses and screaming, "I am the devil" and shit. So I, I went and did a clearing on her, and he was very happy and grateful for that because his mom got all better. But a couple days ago, he messaged me and he goes, "Laura, I had something really freaky happen." And I was like, "What? What's going on?" He's like, "I was sleeping and I felt something sitting on my chest, like literally sitting on me, and I couldn't move. I was completely paralyzed. And then when I tried to get up, I could feel like this pressure pushing me back down. It was so freaky." And I was like, "Oh, here we go." And then he goes, and you guys are gonna laugh at this one. So then he goes, "But that's not the worst part." He goes, "I woke up this morning. I thought my wife had climbed into bed with me because I felt an ice cold hand wrap itself around his you know what." Can you imagine being in bed by himself? He freaked out. He rolled up. He thought his wife had grabbed him. And so he woke up like, and like freaked out because of her cold hands. I was about to give her shit for her cold hands, but there was nobody in bed with him. He was alone. So of course he freaked out. He messaged me going, "What is this?" So I ended up, I checked him, and sure enough, we found a succubus on him. Do you guys know what a succubus is? It's a sex demon. Yeah. If you look at Dr. Terrence Palmer on YouTube and you scroll through his videos, you will find case studies. And in his case studies, they found a succubus attached to somebody else. And it's not a pleasant experience. I mean, it may start off as one, but we have noticed that many of the people who are being affected by them, they don't appreciate it over time. Like at first, it starts off like, "Ooh, kinky," like that's cool. But then, and they do like people who are very promiscuous. We'll put it that way. My friend, he is that way. So we'll put it that way. So anyway, he did freak out quite a bit. We removed it from him, and he's feeling 100% better. But I asked him, I was like, "Do you want me to remove it? Or are you enjoying the attachment?" And he goes, No, the cold hands. If she had more hands, that she could stay," is what he said. But it's the cold hands that made him want to get rid of her. And I was like, "Oh man, if only you knew." Because they do a lot more than cold hands. They siphon energy from you. They literally feed off of you. And they get you to do all kinds of stuff, make you watch porn and whatever else, all those things to try and increase your promiscuity. So anyway, I thought that was a really funny case because he's a muggle. He didn't believe in any of this stuff until what happened with his mom. And even after his mom, he was a bit like, anybody can say this stuff. But nope, many people can put an ice cold hand around your member and then disappear. So to say he's a believer now is an understatement. Do you ask about the soul contract? Excuse me. Before removing them? I remember you told a story a while ago that somebody had a succubus moved and the guide said she had to get another one to learn the lessons. That was from the clearing with Terry and Andy. So if you guys actually want to watch that clearing, you can. The one that Laura's talking about is actually on Terry's YouTube channel. So you can go scrolling down, and he's got case studies up there. They are a little nerve-wracking to listen to, especially the one with the Kalamazoo killer. That one, oh man, that one will get you. I'm just saying that it's like watching a creepy show or TV or movie or spooky to watch that one, I must admit. But yeah, They're up there if you guys want to experience that for yourselves, see what that thing was like, because they're very cocky. And I should say they're very cheeky too. Like, you should have heard that succubus that was removed from that lady. It was all like, well, she liked it, like that was its attitude. It was, oh, she enjoyed it. She can say she doesn't, but I know she did. Like they're very, very, very cheeky that way. Dark contracts are when we make a deal with an entity. You've heard of people selling their soul to the devil. Same thing. It's a dark contract. So sometimes you don't even know you're making a dark contract, but it is essentially a favor from the dark side. And unfortunately, those favors are not easily paid off. In fact, they can follow you through multiple incarnations until you break that contract. And I hate to say it, but sometimes we've even found that they are affecting the bloodline. So let's say a parent who really wants money offers up the soul of one of his children. That child will unfortunately have to deal with that dark contract in perpetuity until it is negotiated, is the best way that I can put it. So when we deal with a dark contract, that is essentially what the spirit guides are doing. They're going and negotiating that contract and clearing it out for you. So yes, just like the Mayfair witches. This is the thing. They put all of this stuff in movies so we know. It's all true. Like, they may twist the truth and make it even more confusing. But yeah, this is one of the reasons why we check, how can you negotiate with someone else's soul? It's the soul guides that are doing the negotiating. So they're breaking the contract for you. I don't know how they do it. I'm not there. I'm not privy to their conversation with whatever entity had the agreement with. But that is essentially what happens. Yeah, they renegotiate those contracts and get you out of it. I did a very deep meditation session 3 days ago, and during the session, a dark entity came to me and tried to enter my body. It even told me that it would give me everything I ever wanted if I allowed it to do that. I said no and banished it. The next day, Rothschild died. Very interesting coincidence. Not that I believe in those, but you never know. It's interesting, David. And I'm very glad that you said no. Because keep in mind that you don't even have to know what you're agreeing to. I mentioned that Kalamazoo killer a few minutes ago. If you guys go scrolling through Dr. Terrence Palmer's case studies on his YouTube, you will find the Kalamazoo killer. It's basically, there's a guy who was, I've talked about this before, but some of you are probably new. There is a guy who was an Uber driver who lived in Kalamazoo. I forget what state, because there's a bunch of different Kalamazoos. I think it was Wisconsin or something, somewhere in the Midwest. And he saw a demon face, like the face of the devil, he said, pop up on his Uber app while he was working. Michigan, thank you. And so he was confused by this face that popped up, and he tapped the face. And just tapping the face was him giving his consent. As soon as he tapped the face, he started getting all these negative downloads and negative thoughts in his head. So that was him giving his consent to that attachment, to that agreement. And so unfortunately, that wasn't even a demon, you guys. That was an earthbound. That's the craziest thing, because they asked if that attachment had a human life, and it said it did 700 incarnations ago. So we've talked about poltergeists in the past. So I'm just going to explain a little bit about that. Poltergeists are earthbounds. They're not demons. So if you have a really, really pissed off spirit in your house that hasn't crossed over, that's been around for a while, they've gained a lot of energy through fear. They have to sap their energy from the living. But this is why hauntings usually start out small. They'll do something like flicker the lights or, make weird noises in the house. And then you're just like, and then you get freaked out. You're like, oh my God, what is that? But after a little while, those things don't freak you out as much. You get used to it. The lights start flickering and you're like, whatever, like you don't care. So then they start throwing things and doing things that will escalate those feelings of fear. That's how they absorb more energy from you. And unfortunately, the more energy they absorb from you, the more energy they have to use against you to move even bigger shit and scare you even more. So unfortunately, that's what these poltergeists do: is they attach to people. They come into your house. They scare the shit out of you. And in many of those cases, that's why you have to command them to leave. But the unfortunate thing is that it's you can't. Sometimes these earthbounds are so powerful, they can be even more powerful than a demon, because demons are thought forms. Demons are basically astral AI. They are creatures that we create through belief, but they're just thought forms. I mean, you can dissolve a demon. That's what many of them happen to. They just get dissolved. And it's like I don't know how they do it, for example, but they explain that it's all through the beliefs of a certain person. So every demon out there has a person behind it that's creating it. So all of our shadow work will literally come out as one of these things. So sometimes it's just a thought form. Sometimes it's actually a literal demon. And that is why they do try and scare you, whether it's an earthbound or a demon or what. But these dark contracts, which is my point, is that they will continue to mess with you from incarnation to incarnation, which is why we check for them now. And this is also why we remove ancestral karmic contracts as well. Every single person I have checked so far for ancestral karmic contracts, I've found them on them. We all have them. We all have ancestral karmic contracts. I don't know why. And in many cases, they won't even give me an example as to what it is. Because I do ask, and sometimes they'll tell me and sometimes they don't. So really, it's all dependent on the situation and the person and whether or not that information is actually going to help them. Because if they don't think it's going to help, then they're not going to say. Yes, Claire says, I don't let Laura go into it. I refuse to go down that rabbit hole. She is cheeky sometimes, asking what kind of types they are. Laura's very knowledgeable but curious. Yes, I am. I want to write a beastie manual, you guys. That's the one thing I'm always asking Claire about, was like, what was the level 3? What was it? What was it? I want to know. Because they're not always reptilians, you guys. A lot of times we're finding other really weird, freaky fucking ETs out there. We found a Hydra on somebody. A Hydra, like from Greek mythology. It was on some poor little girl with Tourette's, like really bad Tourette's. This poor thing, she was so sweet. And according to the request I had was explaining that this little girl was so sweet and she has Tourette's and bad words come out of her mouth and she gets so embarrassed by these bad words. And so when we scanned her, that's what we fucking found. What the hell? A 3-headed Hydra. Like the ones in Greek mythology where you lop off the head and then, And what's funny is that's Ghidorah in the new Godzilla movie. My son is obsessed with Godzilla. That's his favorite movie. You guys know that 3-headed Hydra thing in Godzilla? That's what I'm talking about. It's one of those, but obviously smaller. So who knows what's out there and what's fucking with us? That's the point. And that's why I'm so curious, Claire. That's why I want to know. But I also want to put them in my beastie manual. Okay, I will totally talk about that. I must admit, that was my favorite moment from last night. When Claire and I were doing clearings on one of you guys. And it's a long story, but we asked, one of the questions he asked for his detailed report is, what is, please name my soul guide. I want to know about my soul guide. So we asked about the soul guide and they said Thor the Viking. And Claire's face was priceless. Claire's like what? Thor the Viking? So I'm just like, just put it in the report. It'll resonate with him, maybe. Who knows? So we just put it in the report. Thor the Viking is your soul guide. So what does he send me? He sends me, after I sent him the report, he sends me a photo of him dressed as Thor. Apparently Thor is like his favorite person. And he's always talking about Thor. And he's got all kinds of Viking stuff. And even grew his hair out long to look like Thor. And it was the funniest thing when he, and I laughed. I said to him, I was like, wow, I bet you were really excited when you got your report. And he goes, I screamed and I threw my phone because he was so excited. So yeah, I mean, this has just been a lot of fun. Like I gotta tell you guys, like it is a little nerve wracking when you have to deal with beasties trying to fuck with you, because they do mess with us. They still try anyway. But we have gotten pretty good, haven't we, Claire, about keeping him off of us. But so this is one of the reasons why I do want to know about the beasties, because I do want the I'm a big D&D nerd, you guys. I love D&D. I've been playing D&D since I was like 10. And so um the monster manual in D&D is what I'm aiming for. Like that is one of my goals in life, is to write an actual monster manual for the beasties that we got. Yes, and I do have a new soul guide thanks to this work as well. I wasn't going to mention this, Claire, but since you brought it up, I may as well talk about that. So, you guys remember how the Lizzies were messing with Claire and I really badly, right? Like there was even a couple days where I was ready to rip my hair out in frustration because they kept fucking with me. They kept coming back, you guys. Like I would clear them and they would come back. I even had Siddhartha. That's why Siddhartha asked me yesterday, like, how is that little problem going for you? Because it was incessant. It was awful. So anyway, the Soul Guides proposed a very unique solution. And Claire was the first one. If you don't mind, if you want to stop me, Claire, this is your chance to stop me. Claire had been offered a new soul guide to help with her attacks. And we found out that there are actually more good Lizzies than bad ones. I'm talking about reptilians. I don't like saying the word. It makes me feel weird. So there's a lot of very, very good reptilians out there that want to help people. And many of them are looking to be supportive to what we're doing. And so one of them offered itself to Claire as her soul guide. His name is Lightning. Or at least that's what he's calling himself. I've been feeling they have an actual reptilian name and they just want to keep it simple. So she got this new reptilian soul guide named Lightning, and Lightning has been protecting her like nonstop. She like almost all her attacks have stopped. So unless Claire starts getting really emotional about something, she's in the clear. Like Lightning's been protecting her. And what's funny is the other day I was walking around in Aldi having a little chit chat with Claire, ironically, on the phone. And I got hit by a beastie. I felt it come in. Like, and this is one of the things that I've noticed now after keeping myself clear. Because I do a clearing, we do a clearing every time we do clearings. We make sure that we're all good before we start clearing other people. And so I've been able to check myself repeatedly. I now know what it feels like when they attach to me. It feels like a double heartbeat. You know, where they say where your heart skips a beat? If you ever feel it doing that, there's something going on. Because that's exactly what happened to me. I felt my heart skip a beat, and it felt like almost like an instantaneous anxiety. And that's when I knew I had an attachment. So sure enough, I was on the phone with Claire and I called in my spirit team, and they offered me a Lizzie too to protect me. And so I said, fine, my new Lizzie's name is Silver. We made sure multiple times that they are from the highest light and they are good ones. And I could tell Silver was a bit like about me at first. Because I have done quite a lot of shit talking about Lizzie's lately, I must say. You guys know what I'm like, though. We've been a snack for thousands of years. Can you blame me? So it took me some time to get used to the idea of having a good one around. But I haven't really, I've only been attacked once since. And the funny thing is Claire tuned into it and was like, why did you let Laura get attacked? And Silver goes, she's not talking to me. Because I wasn't talking to him. He let a beastie get me. But it was trying, the whole point was so that way I would say, hey, what gives? And so we would be able to have a better communication. So I have been talking quite a bit to this Lizzie, and it's working out very well. I have not had an attack since. And I feel his presence sometimes. Her, I don't know. They're deceased Lizzie, so I can't really tell. I guess it's just an energy. But I can feel the difference. Like I can feel it's like the best way to put it is I just feel like nothing can fuck with me right now. It's the best way I can put it. I just feel tougher. I feel stronger. I feel unfuckwithable, as they say. So maybe that's from I don't know what that is. Maybe I'm just building confidence. But you know what else is really cool, you guys? And I hope I hope Jono and Andy don't get mad at me for saying this. But I did a clearing myself. I did. I'll tell you what happened. So we were doing clearings the other night and we got them all done. And I shooed Claire off to bed, like, go, shoo, shoo. So she went to go to bed, but we were all chit-chatting in the group and somebody asked for a clearing. And so it was in one of our chat groups. So it's a long story, but Claire and I were just about to get on the phone to do this clearing. And another friend contacted me and she said she's feeling really unwell, that she's not able to come and hang out the next day because she's got a splitting headache. And I intuitively picked up that she had an attachment. So I called in Silver. I was like, Silver, can you help me, please? My friend's got something going on. Can you please go and check her out? Can you please? And what's funny is I went through the whole protocol in my head. And as I was going through the whole protocol, an answer would pop into my head. And as soon as the answer came through, I would be like, okay, I got it. And I wrote it down. Well, sure enough, I cleared my friend because Claire and I came on the phone to do the clearing for the extra person. We got back on the phone just for 5 minutes to do the clearing for the emergency that just popped up. And I said, hey, can you check my friend really quick? I didn't tell her that I tried to do the clearing. I didn't say a word. And Claire's like, she's fine. Why? And I was like, she's fine. She's like, wait, they're telling me that you cleared her. And I was like, oh, really? They're saying that? She's like, yes. They're saying she had a level 2 and it's gone now that you cleared it. The pride that I felt in myself at that moment. Holy shit. I still can't believe I did it. So I am a medium, you guys. I did it. And everything I was hearing was accurate. Holy shit. So it just goes to show, like, we have so much progress that we're making right now. And I'm so proud right now of myself, of Claire, of the whole academy, of all of you guys. Like, I'm just so happy that things are working out the way they are. So who knows? Maybe in a year from now, because maybe 2, 3 years, I don't know. Maybe I'll be able to do these clearings like Claire does. Wouldn't that be cool? But for now, I'm very happy with being a facilitator. It's just nice to know that if I stumble across somebody out in public where I'm sensing they have something, maybe I can be like, okay, I'm calling in the team and I'm going to start trying to clear people in person. But at the same time, I do hear the words of Jono and Andy in the background going, you really need to know your shit before you do this work. So I do have some confidence now, and I really do feel that Silver is actually protecting me and doing an amazing job of that. So I am very grateful to you, Silver. Thank you. But I have noticed, like, nothing is messing with me since he came through. Like, I feel amazing. I feel very productive, too. We've been getting a lot done. So I really do feel like there's going to be so much progress being made in the next few months. So who knows? We'll see what's going on. And thank you guys for all the confidence boosts. I appreciate you. I'm seeing all your lovely comments. I love you guys. Thank you very much for all of that. I really appreciate it. But if you guys have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer. I've been just going off on this little tangent here. But it feels really, really good to help people, I must say. So yeah, if you guys are interested in the clearings, we are doing detailed reports as well. So a lot of the information that people are asking in hypnosis, like, what is my purpose for being here? What are my challenges? Where's my vulnerability coming through? You'll be able to, have all those questions answered by your soul guides in these reports. So I have noticed that these detailed reports are extremely helpful for people because, it is really good to figure out where they're getting in, Thanks, guys. I am planning on doing that, Dale. I really do want to write a book about all this stuff. I just, I'm going to have to delegate and work things out and do a whole bunch of other stuff first. And I also need Claire to answer some questions, Claire. I want to know what all the level 3s are. It's so much fun. I do love hearing about them though. This is one of the reasons why I'm really excited about working with Laura Whitworth as well. Because Laura's technique, just to do one clearing, it takes like an hour or two. But you do get more information, and there is a possibility that the entities attached to you can be transmuted into light. Whether or not, I don't know. The problem is what Chen said the other day, and that really resonated with me. When we asked Chen how easy it is to, what's the word, rehabilitate some of these attachments. He basically explained that it's kind of like trying to convince somebody who's like a hardcore carnivore to go vegan. It's about the same level of ease here. Yes, Nora, you can book with me. If you just message me privately on my Facebook page, I can sort you out. I'm doing clearings with Claire tomorrow on Thursday, so I will have some spaces. I probably will not post another status though, because like I said, I got 50 messages in 10 minutes or so. So I'll only do that if I don't have any spaces available. So have you done families? Yes, we have been getting quite a few families coming through actually. And we like doing the family ones because I just put it all on one report. I don't have to go and set up extra reports. I just bang them all out really quickly. So that'll be fun. And yes, for the record, it is better to get everyone all at once, because we have noticed that they jump around like fleas. With us the other day, I was Candy is facilitators in the group, but she's also a medium who needs confidence in herself. And so one of the cool ways we do build confidence with some of the baby mediums that have gone through the SRT training is to have them sit in with sessions and see, because what, for example, what Claire says validates what she's picking up. So it does actually strengthen it for that reason. But one of the things that I did notice though is that, for example, we tuned into somebody's energy. And Claire said there's a level 1 and there's a level, oh no, there isn't. And she stopped herself. And Candy was like, were you just about to say level 2? Because I sensed a level 2. And Claire was like, oh, yeah. Okay, hold on, let's look into that. And she did. And sure enough, there was a level 2 attached. And you know what it did? The second Claire connected to the client's energy, it jumped like a fucking flea. It did immediately, like split second. Oh shit! And it jumped and it ran, but the cord was still attached. And so that's why this is one of the reasons why we include cords in our quick clearings, because if you don't cut the cords for the entity will come right back. And so this is what they do, is they jump from the better snack to the other snack. Aiden's dad had a bad attachment. And his girlfriend had a bad attachment. So we were checking into them. And what's interesting is that they were switching. They would jump between the two. So one would be feeling good and the other would be feeling shit. And it would jump to the one that was feeling like shit. And then the other one would start to feel better. And then the other one would start to feel worse. So they would keep swapping their attachments back and forth. I mean, it's crazy. They're like predators. If you think about it, they have feeding grounds. They move around from person to person. And if the person one of their people is feeling good that day, then the meal isn't as good for them. So they'll go to somebody else who's feeling more shit. You know what I mean? So it is one of those things where it's, you got to be clever. And unfortunately, they're getting more clever too. So we have to keep getting more clever to counteract how clever they are. But they are very, very smart. So we'll see. Patty, it's all in my what you call it. In fact, you know what? I'll just copy it for you guys. I can share it. I can see that you guys are curious. Hang on one sec. I've got it all written out. Everything that's in the protocols, etc. I did have to raise my rates a little bit, and you guys may notice, and that's because I was majorly undercutting myself and causing some animosity a little bit by going too cheap. Some of the other practitioners were like, what the fuck, Laura? How am I supposed to compete with that? But then again, I also have to create a website. I've got so much that I have to do. So that is why I did have to raise my rates. A quick clearing is 60, a full clearing is 100, and a full clearing with detailed report, which includes all kinds of questions like what kind of aftercare do I need, that sort of thing. There we go. I'll just share it below. There it is. There's the whole spiel. Come on, work with me here. Oh my God, technology is being so difficult the last few days. It's unbelievable. Okay, here it is. I'm posting in the comments. There it is. There's the whole spiel. See, it's a big one. But it explains all the things that you get for each one. And yes, we are also doing another course. Christopher is setting that up today. We're going to be doing another self-clearing course. Is it next Sunday, Claire? Hold on. Is it the 10th? Yes, it's the 10th. We're doing another self-clearing class on the 10th, as people have asked for that. A lot of people want to take care of themselves and clear themselves. So that is definitely something that we can help you guys do. Holly says, I'm a Reiki master, and one time I was treating someone over the phone, and she felt something release, and we actually heard something scream, and it wasn't her, and she saw a shadow. So I think I have a knack of clearing people. I just need to be trained. You probably do, Holly. Trust that gut. That's really cool, by the way. So yes, if you guys notice in there, we do include animals in the full clearing and in the full clearing with advice. So if any of you are concerned about your pets, we do check them as well. Oh, and my friend that had the succubus on him, his dog had one too. And it was really funny. Claire didn't even say he's the reason that I've included it in the reports, because we were just clearing him. And Claire's like, what's with his dog? And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, his dog's got an attachment too. And I was like, we need to add this to the protocol. I'm just going to add it in. So thanks to my muggle friend who had the succubus, because now we all have animal clearings in there too. We found an animal in there that had it. His dog's name was Thor, by the way. I found that to be very funny. Little quinky dink. Well, I was just seeing Kat's question. What can we do to prepare for when and if the grid does fail? Well, we keep getting mixed information from the soul guides, which quite frankly is a little frustrating. I must admit, because each soul guide is different. Each one sees things differently. And Siddhartha is a hardcore optimist. That is one of the things I must say I love about Siddhartha is he always sees the good in people, and he sees all of the potential. So he's very keen on keeping us from freaking out right now, which is why I feel is why he responded the way he did yesterday. Because one of the main things that Chen was trying to avoid was creating a panic. We're trying to express that this is a good thing, that this is actually a positive thing if it does happen. I realize many of you are in a position where it would be a little scary to happen to, especially for those of you who are relying on things from the government or relying on payments that come through monthly. But the best thing you can really do is something that we should have already done in the first place, and that is self-sufficiency. The importance of self-sufficiency cannot be understated. It really cannot. So these are things that we can all do just to make our lives healthier and better anyway, regardless of whether or not the shit's going to actually hit the fan. So the way I look at it is I'm going to be spending a lot more time gardening. I'm going to be learning how to do canning. I'm going to be learning how to basically just do everything as much of my own that I possibly can. So that way I don't have to rely on stores, that I don't have to rely on the government, that I don't have to rely on anything except for my own personal autonomy. So I think that's one of the best things we can do is one, not panic, no fear whatsoever. None. Fear is the opposite of what we actually need. Buy some chickens. That's a good one, Rachel. Exactly. Buy some chickens. 100%. I did originally say I wasn't going to pay my taxes this year, but my mother has now given me so much shit about that. I will be. So I was even going to not pay my taxes, but just in case shit doesn't happen, I'll be good. I'll be a good little civilian and do what I'm supposed to do. But maybe next year things will be different. So yeah, just learn as much homesteading stuff as you possibly can. And Margaret, I would love to hear stuff about that. Please message me. Seriously, I would love to learn everything I can. Heck, you guys, some of you have really good survival skills, you can come on the podcast and teach us all you know. I am keen. Turn your yard into a garden. Exactly. How do we as a collective create our own banking system? Oh man. I used to work with Michael Tellinger for quite a while. Biggest narcissist you'll ever meet, just for the record. But Michael has been talking about his Ubuntu currency for quite a while. If you look into it, I'm not trying to promote Tellinger in any way, shape, or form, but the ideas that he's stolen from other people are actually really good. So if you look into some of those ideas, then, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of interesting information that can come out of that. And yes, Gail, thank you very much for that. Don't forget to grow your own medicinal herbs. There's all kinds of stuff that you can learn. Oh, by the way, speaking of medicinal herbs, I got some oregano oil the other day. This is the most violent essential oil I have ever tasted in my entire life. Nobody warned me about oregano. Have any of you ever drank oregano essential oil before? Have you? I traumatized myself. I tasted this without water out of curiosity, and holy shit. This is violence in a vial. Okay. It was traumatic. So strong. So it burns. Yes, it burned for an hour, Patty. My mouth. It felt like I ate a Carolina Reaper, but with bad flavor. It was terrible. So just my point is, get to know your shit before you do something dumb like I did. Yes, dilute it in olive oil and water. Exactly. I did not read the instructions. They said use 4 drops, so I did. I put 4 drops in the tiniest little bit of water. Like, this is what I've been using. It's like this little shot glass thing. I just put it in that. I filled that with water, and even that was enough to traumatize myself. It was shocking, shockingly horrible. So yeah, make sure that you know what you're ingesting and how to ingest it properly, because even if it's completely organic and all kinds of goodies in there, it can still be, like I said, shocking to your entire system. You put it under your tongue and chase it with coffee. Sarah, you're such a badass. Oh my God. Woo! Just like I said, just 1 drop of this shit could season a bucket of tomato sauce. I'm not even kidding. When I say this is intense, I am not kidding. Go find out. Order some oregano oil. You'll see. It's like slaps you when you try it. But if you think about how powerful that flavor is, imagine what it's doing to the parasites in your gut. The parasites are like, no. It's for parasites and candida, which apparently popped up on both of my, because remember I told you guys about Mihaela. You've met Mihaela and her amazing biofeedback machine. So she put me on the machine before I left for South Africa, and then she put me on the machine when I was in South Africa, and I got about 20 more red flags popping up, which I find very ironic and funny. I picked up parasites probably from eating biltong. And I like 3 different parasites I picked up in South Africa after like a week. Crazy. So that's why I'm doing the parasite cleanse right now. I've got the oregano oil. I've got this really cool stuff that I told you guys about last time, that parasite worm cleanse. I've ordered some more of this actually. It's from Etsy. It's called Sonnengarten Organics if you find the store. It's amazing stuff. I don't eat sushi as it is, Michelle. I'm one of those people that likes cooked sushi. I'm weird. I'll eat I'll eat one of those salmon rolls, like that are actually cooked. I don't know. It's just not my thing. Raw fish. I've spent way too much time around sea creatures and no, I worked at a marine mammal stranding center and I saw the parasites that those animals were getting because they were eating a lot of fish. So I've always limited my fish intake for that reason. It's pretty rough, let me tell you. Those poor seals, man. What other essential oils do you guys take? Black walnut and wormwood. Yes, that's what's in this parasite worm cleanse. It's got everything. It's got wormwood, black walnut, Paul d'Arco bark, parsley leaf, cat's claw bark, clove bud, barberry root, fennel seed, cascara bark. There's a whole bunch of weird shit in here that I've never even heard of. But the funny thing is, when I Googled natural remedies for parasites, that's all in there. That's all of those things. So yeah, if you guys can start making your own medicines, start researching your own medicines. Because if you think about it, Big Pharma that's what they've been doing this whole time. They will go into the jungles, they'll find some kind of a plant or some kind of a creature. They'll find a way to bottle it, they'll change it, they'll move it around. You know what I mean? Like they change this genetic structure of everything. And then they repackage it and sell it to you when all you really needed was some kind of a bark of a tree or something, So it is very important to get to know these things because they can be used for spiritual stuff. Cinnamon, for example, is really powerful for warding off negative energy, and yet cinnamon is also helpful for medicinal stuff. So it's really cool how much herbs and flowers and all kinds of things will actually strengthen you and your etheric field and your protection and all kinds of stuff. Barbara O'Neill is amazing. I really do love Barbara O'Neill. If you guys haven't seen Barbara, you probably would recognize her if you Googled her. Barbara O'Neill, she's amazing. We were talking about mullein tincture just this morning. One of my friends has a bad cough and has been having trouble breathing. So we were talking about taking mullein just today. So yes, mullein's a very good one that you could probably find on the side of the road. All kinds of goodies. Rose essential oil is wonderful. That's what I use whenever do I even have it next to me? Usually I do. One of my favorite combinations when I'm using my essential oil diffuser is Palo Santo oil, rose oil, and frankincense oil. And I usually have that going while I'm doing clearings and stuff. So nothing comes in the room to mess with me while I'm doing clearings. But yeah, it really does help to raise the vibration of the space, all of those essential oils. And if you think about it, all those perfumes that people wear, many of them are toxic, and the smells that you're getting are actually not good for you. So especially when it comes to just, fragrance, essential oil is really important. I just buy them as usually I just try and support small families and small businesses. I try not to buy anything from things like Amazon for that reason, even though there are family businesses that use Amazon. But the most important thing is that it's organic. Absolutely important these days. Everything needs to be organic these days. This is one of the things we've noticed. One of the questions people were asking last night is why is everybody having parasites in the stomach? It's from our food. Every single person we check, we find parasites in their stomach. We even found parasites in somebody's mouth yesterday. And we're like, what? It's from the food. So, it's like you have to do a parasite cleanse on your body and your etheric field, unfortunately. Yes, cayenne pepper is also really good. Definitely. Have a wonderful day, Sarah. Happy vibes at the dentist. Comfrey. Yes, comfrey is also really good. And yeah, you just have to message my page. If you want a clearing, you just have to message me. I'm happy to do it. Claire and I are doing clearings tomorrow. So I've shared the whole spiel in the comments so that way you guys can see what we're offering in terms of clearings. So there's all kinds of of interesting things we're finding. Can you release parasites when you find them in someone's session in the same way that you release other entities? Yeah, we always remove the entities and parasites, Patty. Yep, 100%. But this is one of the frustrating things is that we're picking up parasites in our food and all kinds of stuff. So, even though you get a clearing, unfortunately, within a few hours, you've probably picked up a few more. So this is one of the reasons why your etheric field needs to be solid, because that's how they get in. If your etheric isn't solid, if you've got any perforations in your etheric, that's how they get through. When I was in Peru doing ayahuasca, they said never eat pork. Yeah, because pork has got the most parasites. Yep. But they also, what's interesting is they've said not to eat pork for thousands of years. I don't think it's just because of the parasites. They're also very genetically similar to us. So in many ways, it's almost like a form of cannibalism. If you think about it. I hate to say it, pigs are very close to us, you guys. If you look at their genetics, they are. You can actually, my friend has a pig's organ, and I forget what it is. There's some kind of a pig's organ that they have. So they're even using animal organs. Yes. So pig in Deliverance, what did they call people? Long pig. So gives you a new plot twist. Yeah, I hate to say it, but just eating meat. I was vegetarian for years. I was vegan for quite a long time as well. And I truly believe that we need everything in moderation. It's kind of like what Siddhartha was explaining yesterday. Like, if you eat too much meat, it's going to affect you. If you eat too much carbs, it's going to affect you. If you eat too much of anything, it's going to affect you. So we have to basically learn what healthy moderation is for each thing. I'm still trying to learn that from cannabis. I've been trying to learn healthy moderation with that for decades. But it just is what it is, because we humans like to indulge. And we tend to like the really nice stuff, and the really nice stuff comes with a price. Everybody's always talking about bacon being the most delicious favorite thing they can eat, but bacon will, also start to affect you in many ways because of all the nitrates and all the other shit, all the salt and all the stuff. One of the people yesterday, we asked on the report, what does she need to do for healing? And they said she needs to cut out some of the salt. She's eating too much salt. Like this is one of the things. There's a lot of things that are affecting us because we're not moderating it properly. So I also got sick being vegan, Megan. 100%. My hair was falling out. I was a mess. My nails were so brittle that they would break. Like, I couldn't even get them long enough to the end of my nail and they would break. My health was terrible when I was vegan. And the funny thing is I was vegan when I went to South Africa, and I realized I was going to die. Like, if I didn't start eating meat in South Africa, there wasn't enough vegetables. There wasn't enough food around. I went to a barbecue once and they gave me a banana because it was the only non-meat thing they had. A roasted banana is all I could eat. So I was just like, you do what you got to do. So I have been basically moderating how much meat, and I have been eating 2 vegetarian meals a night, I should say every week, for Siddhartha's sake, because he told me I need to limit meat intake to help raise my vibration. But remember the one most important thing that we've learned from what Dolores was explaining, because lots of people would ask this question under hypnosis, and they basically said, each of us are different. Each of us have different requirements. That's why one diet does not work for everybody. We all are so unique. And so one of the things they explained is that the most important thing is that you listen to your body when it comes to what it needs, that you limit the amount of bad stuff that your body doesn't need, and that you're being attentive to where the energy of the thing that you're consuming is. So it doesn't matter if you're eating a cow or a carrot. If you're eating a carrot that's been really badly treated too, they're both going to bring down your vibe. So the plants, plants can be abused too, you guys. This is one of the things that we don't understand because many of us don't even understand the sentience of plants. But yeah, it is actually true that we are affected on an energetic level by what we eat. And if we eat food that's been abused in any way, shape, or form, whether it's an animal or a plant, it doesn't make a difference. They make us sick. We're carrying that vibration. So, yeah. Ray says, magic mushrooms made me quit eating bacon and drinking alcohol. It makes me sick now. I stopped 3 years ago, but I asked him if weed was bad for me. He didn't quit, and it didn't make me quit. Shrooms. You know what's funny? Oh, I'm just going to finish your thought first. Shrooms just showed me that before I was using weed to escape, but now I just use it to relax so I don't have to quit. Exactly. You know what's funny? My tolerance was through the roof. I've been smoking since I was 17. So I do take tolerance breaks every now and again, but I had been skipping tolerance breaks for a while. And so a couple months ago, I was partaking of the mushrooms, and my soul guides came through and they told me to stop doing dabs. They're like, no more dabs whatsoever. No more. None. You're done. I was like, why? And they're like, well, it's not good for you. They straight up told me. They said, you can keep smoking the flower, but leave that shitty dab stuff alone. It's not good for you. It's really, it's harmful for your lungs. It's too much. They said, if you need a tolerance, then you have to take, if you have too much in your system and it's not doing what it's supposed to, then you're taking too much. You need to take a break. Not take more in a crazier way. So they gave me a lot of shit about my dabs, actually. They told me no more. So I haven't done dabs since. I have listened to them. I've heeded their advice. But yeah, now I do see the point of taking tolerance breaks, unfortunately. Yep. Yeah, that's probably right, Jen. Probably right. Anything, what's funny is like anything from nature tends to end up being okay to a degree. It's when we bastardize it and change it. Look at opium as a great example of that, because opium in itself is a very powerful medicine. Milk of the poppy. People have been using that medicine for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. But if you bastardize it and turn it into opiate drugs, look what happens. Look what happens to people. So that's the same thing. It's basically what happened with cannabis is that Gail doesn't know what a dab is. So it's basically highly concentrated cannabis, and they concentrate it by putting it through a chemical process. So yeah, it is one of those things where they've taken something natural and they've concentrated it by using a chemical process. And that chemical process is what bastardizes it, unfortunately. It makes it highly potent. But at the same time, you wouldn't need the potency if you were actually moderating it like you're supposed to. So that's why. So yeah, it's one of those things where, everything in moderation. You just got to listen to your body. And I was not listening to my body. I was coughing up shit and I wasn't listening. So sure enough, I had to have my own guides give me a pep talk while I was tripping. But they do that a lot, actually. I'm pretty sure that my mediumship abilities go through the roof, which is one of the reasons why I like the mushies. You guys always get me talking about this when I'm solo. It's one of my favorite topics, though. I've been a psychonaut since I was 17. I've been tripping all the time. In fact, like I said, I've told you guys the story before, but I did end up getting into a fight with a willow tree once while I was on DMT because the willow tree was like, girl, knock it off. The tree told me, you don't need a spiritual experience every day. Simmer down. And I was like, you don't know me, tree. I love it. I just love mushies. I really do. They're my favorite. Weed and mushrooms is all I need. Like, everybody talks about all these hard drugs and pills and this and that. I've never been interested in any of it. So that's all I need. Those two things, and I'm happy until I die. So for the guys, they know. Siddhartha tried to tell me to quit. Sorry, not gonna happen. This is what keeps me sane on this planet, Siddhartha. There's no way I'm giving up my reefer, not for nothing. But that's what I said. I'll stick with my Mary Jane, as Brooke puts it. Love the name, by the way, Brooke. Have you tried microdosing? I do it every day. Yes, I do. Yep, I microdose both, and I mass dose other times too. So we'll see. What's funny? You know how I decide my dosage? This is really, really probably not advisable for anybody else, just for the record. But because I've been tripping for so long since I was 17, I get kind of I let spirit decide my dosage. I roll D&D dice. I roll a 9-sided dice to let them decide what my dose is going to be whenever I partake on the Sabbaths. And so, like the solstices and the equinoxes. So every 8 weeks or so is when I take a long weekend and send Aiden to grandma's. ah, so, it's just one of those things. Like, we like what we like, and we're not going to change our stance on anything, really. So, even if somebody likes Dartha says, Laura, that's icky, you shouldn't do it. I love you. I genuinely do, but it's not icky to me, and I love it. So, you're not in the body having to deal with all the shit that we are here on this planet. I need at least some escapism. Thank you very much. But if you might notice, I never ever smoke before a podcast. Otherwise, I would lose my train of thought 100 times more. Like, my ADD is bad enough when I'm sober. And then you just say on the weekend when you did talk with the other woman, sorry, I'm new here and don't know her name, where you were just talking about using weed means parasites. Yes, it does. This is one of the reasons why I'm well aware that this is not beneficial to me in some ways, because unfortunately, cannabis does make holes in your etheric field. Yes, it does make holes. Smoking anything does. Edibles, I've not actually heard that edibles do that. It's the act of smoking that makes holes in the etheric. So technically, if you're eating edibles, you might be fine. In fact, you know who really loved edibles, and it was in his story quite a bit? Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva loved cannabis. There are stories about how cannabis saved Lord Shiva from when he was very unwell. His wife gave him a cannabis cocktail called Bang, and it was a drink that had cannabis in it, very strong, and it actually brought Lord Shiva back to good health. So that is why many people attribute Shiva as being the patron saint of the herb, kind of. So, and Shiva is one of my favorite deities. In fact, this is when I found out that the Tegetans have explained that the reptilians fear Shiva. That it is one of those things where, when you bring up Shiva, they run. They're scared of Shiva. He won every battle against them in the past. Whether or not he wasn't a deity, for the record, he was an ET, but he's still very, very powerful. And so, it just, Lord Shiva's awesome. So I'm paying homage to Lord Shiva every time I partake. Ray says, the first time I used mushrooms for healing, I said, make me happy, happy, happy. And I laughed for 4 hours straight until I was in pain. And then the life lesson was being happy too long. Disappeared again. Where'd it go? Can become uncomfortable. So take the highs and the lows. Just like when the heartbeat line goes up and down and flat, that's life. Exactly, Ray. It's that contrast that's so important. You couldn't see the stars if they weren't on a black, It's just one of those things. You got to take the good with the bad. It's the contrast that makes us appreciate when things are really good. What kind of ET? That is a good question, because they don't even know. They thought he was Andromedan, but every reference they've ever heard of with him he has hair. Andromedans are all bald. They may be blue like Shiva, but they were bald. So everybody's kind of confused on whether or not he was a hybrid. He could have been a hybrid. The stories about Shiva are very interesting. And there's like the cabal to this day still fears Shiva. That's why they have a huge Shiva statue at CERN. They're paying homage and kind of be like, don't ruin it, don't wreck it. They're like, that's their way of saying, okay, that's like them waving a white flag a little bit when they have a Shiva statue out front of CERN. So it just goes to show, like, they know. Kat says, love your cup. Thank you. What happens if you're not sovereign? Your sovereignty is your free will, is your ability to make decisions and have thoughts that are unhindered by other energies, negative energies in particular. Because the soul guides that we work with, they don't mess with your free will. This is one of the reasons why they don't attach to you. They will only come in and use your body if you give them permission, and it's only as for your terms, right? So like when Andy is saying, okay, yes, Chen, you can come in, and Andy goes into the meditative state and Chen comes in to talk. And Andy sets a time for how long he wants Chen to talk, and Chen tries his best to stick to that time. But if he really wanted to, Chen could actually kick Andy out of his own body. He could be like, no, yours is my body now, thanks. But this is one of the reasons why it's so important to trust your guides and to know who you're talking to. Because if you don't, you end up giving up that body to somebody else. And they can do walk-ins. I'm pretty sure that's what happened with Damien Dumar, is that he's a walk-in, that the reptilian he let in now possesses the body in its entirety. So this is what happens. We have walk-ins that are good and we have walk-ins that are not so good. You guys are having multiple conversations here in the chat, so I'm trying to keep up here. Oh, I love your comment, Rachel. I saw it. Doing the Lord's work. Yes, exactly. But it's everything in moderation. I have noticed that wake and baking is terrible. I've had to stop doing it because my motivation for the day is just gone. I just want to veg out and relax the whole rest of the day, which is actually a good thing if that's what you need for the day. But if you're trying to be an adult and accomplish things, then that's not recommended. But that's what I was like for years. Like, I hated being on this planet so much that I would never be sober. I would wake up and smoke until I fall asleep. So for those, if you knew me 20 years ago versus me now, like the amount I smoke is probably a third of what I used to. So, I'm already moderating myself. Thank you. Yes, even if you take your ADD meds. Even your ADD meds? What did they have you on, if you don't mind me asking, Rachel? They put me on Ritalin when I was 8. They put me on, not Ritalin, was it Dexedrine? That's right. I was on Dexedrine, then Ritalin, then Adderall. And basically Adderall is like, oh, it's okay. So they do have you on amphetamines. Those are not good for you, my love. They ruined my metabolism and they caused all kinds of problems, and they leave. Yeah, I hate to say it, but one of the best things I ever did was quitting the amphetamines that they put me on. I was basically on amphetamines at 8 years old, you guys. Like, isn't that crazy that they can diagnose you with ADD at 8 years old and be like, oh, she needs these pills. She's taking them. They used to check under my tongue to make sure I swallowed it and everything, like literally forcing me to do government meth, if you think about it. So, yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's one of the best things I ever did was quitting Adderall. Yep. Those little footballs, they are, they're terrible. I hate to say it. They make you feel amazing. I feel like I could knit a sweater in an hour, even though I don't know how to knit. That's how it makes you feel. Like you can accomplish anything when you're on it. But then when it wears off, it makes you feel like shit. And it also makes you, dependent on it too for energy and a whole bunch of stuff. And so, yeah, I'm not telling you what to do. This is your body, your health, but I'm just telling you what happened with me. And it really ruined my health, really badly. And if it wasn't for cannabis, I never would have gotten off of it. It was actually cannabis that got me off of those pills. And if it wasn't for cannabis, I never would have slept either, because, taking those things, I could never sleep as a kid. I would be up until 1:00 in the morning and then I have to be up at 6 again. And then it would just pop an Adderall. So I was never getting a solid night's sleep too, which is also really, really not good. In fact, my guides literally made me go to bed early last night. I was like, I don't feel very well. Am I ungrounded? And I asked Claire, and Claire's like, no, you're not ungrounded. You just haven't slept well in a week. And now it's starting to take its toll. Go to bed, Gara. I was like, fine. But even then, I couldn't get myself to sleep until midnight, like laying in bed for 2 hours, tossing and turning, even with taking melatonin. It's crazy. So this is one of the things, sleep is not easy. And one of the worst things about trying to sleep, though, is this little fucker right here. I'm not talking about Aiden. I'm not talking about him. I mean the phone. Because honestly, the phones are keeping us awake. They're designed to make it harder for us to sleep. And so Getting off of the phone is really, really important. It is one of the hardest things that I is for me to do because I am addicted to my phone. I will not deny that. I am on my phone 24/7 these days because of how much I'm working, constantly replying to messages and comments and sharing posts and contacting people and doing conference calls and all that stuff. You have to give yourself a break. This is what my guides keep giving me shit about. They're like, nope, you have to give yourself a break. You have to get to sleep. You have to do this. You have to do that. You have to defrag. And unfortunately, it's not easy to do when you work from home and you've got a lot of people who are counting on you and you're holding space for a lot of people. So this is why I'm giving myself shit because I know I need to do it and I haven't been doing it. So it's funny when you ask for help and your guides and their guides are like, ah, like, can you fix me? I think there's a beastie. No, it's not a beastie. You're just being immature and not doing what you're supposed to do. Oh, okay, thanks. But yes, Wi-Fi. That's another one, Cheryl. Thank you for bringing that up. Wi-Fi does also cause that problem too. In fact, that's what Chen said during the podcast the other day. He said if you could see what was around you, if you could see the radiation and the frequencies that are being emitted from these things, and I'm doing that because my router is right here. But yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you could actually see those energies and the radiation that's coming off of those things, you wouldn't even let your children in the same room as your router. So I'm like, oh man. Like, yeah, it's not easy. Can't these guides ever just stroke our hair and tell us we're pretty? You know what's funny is they literally said that this morning to somebody. I did a clearing on somebody for an emergency, and her power animal was a giraffe. By the way, I'm not going to say who it is unless she says something. But her power animal was a giraffe, and I thought that was the sweetest thing, right? But that is what they said, and they said that's. I asked, I was like, why a giraffe? And they're like, because it represents beauty and kindness and care and compassion and calm and all of the things that she is. Isn't that sweet? I thought that was so beautiful. So yeah, they do actually compliment us and say nice things to us. But most of the time we really need the advice more than anything else. So they don't give us the fluff unless there's a little bonus time at the end. They're like, I know you need to work on this, and this, but you're really awesome. I hope you know that. That's kind of how they are. They're like, well, you're a work in progress, but your progress is so great. That's basically what the guides say while we're doing these clearings. Like we ask for advice and they're like, well, she's really awesome, but she trusts people way too much, that kind of thing. So they how people like they say the best way to give advice is to give a compliment first. That's kind of how the soul guides work, which is really nice of them actually, because it does kind of make things easier to absorb when we're getting advice. Yes, that's why Andy. I'm sorry, that's really cracked me up. I wasn't expecting that. Daniela says that's why Andy's got a phone from 1902. I love that. But yes, and you know what's funny? Andy was trying to send me voice notes the other day, and he kept recording voice notes, and they would stop at 1 minute. So he sent me like 5 1-minute voice quotes, and every time it would cut him off. And I was like, "What is up with your phone?" He's like, "Oh, it's just my phone." So his phone is from 2014. Can't even record a voice note over 1 minute long, and it just makes me laugh. But he says that's the safest phone. It was the what was it? Do you guys remember what phone it is? Some kind of a Galaxy phone, isn't it? I can't remember. But now it makes me kind of wish I had one. Even though you can't do as much with it. If it doesn't have as much radiation and 5G crap, then maybe that would be better. Good advice, then what they have to work on, then positive again. It's the sandwich effect. Yes, exactly, Claire. That's what it was, Kelly. Yes, it was the Xperia. Yes, it was the Xperia 2014. That was the phone that the Soul Guides told Andy to get. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. Thank you for that, by the way. I couldn't remember. I'm just scrolling up because I missed a whole lot of comments. There's a lot of comments. What time is it, by the way? Oh, shit. I'm going to have to run, you guys. You know what's funny? I'll tell you guys a funny story. I had something really weird happen to me yesterday. So Aiden had just gotten on the bus. And as I was going to my mailbox to grab stuff, and I was just about to cross the road back to my driveway when some dude pulled up to me in a truck. And the guy, he sticks his head out the window, like, he's in the driver's seat. So he's like, we're leaning over real far. And he goes, hey, he says, I'm your neighbor. My name is Kyle. And I was like, oh, hi, nice to meet you, Kyle. And he goes, I'm a student at the university down the road, and I'm taking therapeutic massage and reflexology. And he goes, I need people to work on. I need some people to work on. And I was going to go house to house and ask other neighbors, but you're already outside. So I figured I would offer it to you. Would you be interested in a free, what do you call it? Massage. And I looked at him. I was like, is this like, what? Like, who pulls up and asks you if you want a massage? So I was like, do you have a card? And he's like, no, I don't have a card. And he took a piece of paper and he scribbled his name on it. And he's like, oh, here you go. Just call me and we'll hook something up. And he drove off. And I'm standing there holding his number thinking, what the hell? Like, what a weird thing. So I've never been solicited in that way before. So I did end up not taking him up on his offer. I was like, especially when he offered to do it at my house too. Because if he had offered at the school or something, that would have been different. But he was like, I can come by anytime. And I was like, no, sorry, no. But I still got his number and I was like, what do I even do with this? So I was trying to figure out what to do. And I ended up contacting one of my friends and she's like, oh, I have a cancellation if you want to come for a massage tomorrow. I have a really nice blah, blah, blah. So I'm taking that as the universe telling me that I needed a massage, but I will not be getting one from Mr. Stranger Danger. No, I'm going to go and get one from Becky, my friend. In a professional setting. But yeah, I was shocked at that, Talitha. I was like, what? Really surprised. I couldn't believe it. And I was telling the story on my page yesterday. I was having a bit of a laugh because it reminded me of how naive I can be when it comes to massages. I was backpacking through Germany with a friend of mine, and there was this older gentleman that we were chatting with and just hanging out by the fire with a bunch of people around. And he offered me, he goes, Lara, would you like a free tantric massage? I'll give you one. And I was like, ooh, massages. And I look over at my friend and she's dying, like internally dying. Like she's looking at me like she was about to explode. And she knew what a tantric massage was. I did not. For those of you who know what a tantric massage is, it involves your private parts. They massage your privates. So I didn't know that, which is why my friend was like turning purple next to me when she was trying not to be rude. Like she didn't like burst out laughing in the guy's face, but she was laughing at me for being so dumb and saying, yeah, I'd love one. Fantastic. So luckily this time I did shoot him down. But for some reason I just get these weird offerings. So who knows? So yeah, if anybody offers you a tantric massage, make sure that you know them very, very, very well. So yeah, I have a massage planned. Yeah, a real one. And nobody's going to try and touch my privates. Yes. So I am going to have to run or I will be late. But I love you guys so much. This has been a really, really fun chat. Erin was supposed to be on today, but Erin she had adulting to do today that she couldn't avoid. So Erin will be around on Monday. And thank you, Daniela. You're amazing. You're so helpful. I'm just going to put it up there so you guys can read it. There you go. Wednesday and Thursday, Divinate. Wednesday, we get the free Zoom shamanic meditation with Kim Beekman. Oh, cool. Laura Pavanelli, that's right. Laura's going to be doing her shadow work talk with. Aren't you going to be doing it with Nancy? That'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. And also on Thursday, there's going to be another chat with Siddhartha. We can get another healing with Siddhartha. So make sure you guys don't miss that. Okay, it's really, really important. And yes, if you are looking for clearings, I will be doing clearings with Claire tomorrow. I've noticed that some of you have already paid me. I just got the PayPal notifications. So I will put you in my list immediately. You guys are at the top of the list for those of you who have already paid. So, and there you go. I'll tag this too, Daniela. There you go. Thank you, Daniela. You're so helpful. I appreciate you. So there is some information. For those of you who want to watch the Chen chat, Christopher has made it so that anybody can sign up for a free paid membership until the 3rd. So if you sign up with Divinate right now, you get to access all of that stuff for free until the 3rd. So don't miss out. Go through the old live reviews. Go see some of the old the chats. You know, there's a really, really powerful healing meditation with Siddhartha that's already up there. So you don't even have to wait for Thursday. So just make sure that you take advantage of that over the next few days. Binge, exactly. That's what Danielle says. Binge. Enjoy it as much as you can, because like I said, that $18 a month is just, it's so worth it. You're paying like $1 per workshop. Like, yeah, trust me. And I say it's worth it. But otherwise, if you just want to have a freebie, if cash is tight right now, this is your opportunity to get in there and see all this stuff for free that we've got in there and get a little taste of what we're offering on there, because it's so cool, you guys. Christopher and Daniela and I have worked so hard on this, trying to make a really, really beautiful community on there. So if you guys can start engaging on there a little more, that would be also really awesome. I'm going to start putting up some memes and some videos and some articles and stuff in there, because our news feed's getting a little dry. We need people sharing in the news feed. So get on there, you guys. I'll see you on there. I love you all. Mwah. I'll see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow.